Good day everyone. This is your Vedic astrology coach Rajat Kapoor and warm welcome to my channel The Legit Astrologer. In my channel I make videos on Vedic astrology and most importantly I cover the important transits. Very recently I have made a video on the month of May and how it is going to have an impact on all 12 ascendant or the moon signs based on various important transits. In the recent times I have also made a very detailed video on Jupiter's transit in the sign of Taurus and how it is going to have an impact on all 12 ascendant signs over the next few months. In case you're new to my channel, please subscribe, hit the bell icon and keep yourself up to date with all the upcoming transit videos and Vedic astrology videos. In case you wish to book a personalized consultation with me, you can check out the link to my website in the comment section and also the process of reaching out to me. This video today is about one of my favorite planets, the planet Venus, which is a planet of love, abundance, harmony, relationships, and all the interaction in this world. Venus is moving out of its sign of exaltation from Pisces and entering in the sign of Aries on 24th of April, and Venus is going to stay in this sign of Aries till 19th of May. Venus, which is the natural second house ruler and the natural seventh house ruler, because Venus rules the sign of Taurus and the sign of Libra in the natural zodiac belt, is entering the first house of the Kalpurusha Kundli or the natural zodiac, which is the sign of Aries. Venus is Jala Tattva, which is water, and it plays a very important role in terms of our life and overall sustenance, because the kind of water element which Venus represents, that water element very well exists in our body. Therefore this transit is significant. The other reason why this transit is significant is because during this transit Venus is going to come in contact with different grahas. It is going to be forming different yogas. Let's understand some key dates before I talk about how this transit is going to have an impact on all 12 ascendant signs. Venus will be conjoined with Sun, which is the natural fifth house ruler. So the natural fifth house ruler and the second house ruler are coming together in the sign of Aries with an exalted Sun, and this conjunction is going to be there till 15th of May. This is forming a very nice Dhan Yoga, a wealth yoga in place where Sun is extremely powerful, and this is the time for manifestation in terms of focusing a lot on your relationships and having a sense of abundance and attracting a sense of abundance in your life as far as relationships are concerned, as far as all the mundane knowledge and education is concerned, which Venus represents, which talks about all those things that you learn which are very much practical in nature. Venus will also be forming a yoga with Jupiter. Apparently all three planets, Sun, Venus and Jupiter, will be forming a yoga between 24th of April till 1st of May in the sign of Aries. Though both the gurus, Jupiter as well as Venus, have a significant difference in terms of degrees during this conjunction. However, this yoga will last for only about a week when there are three planetary conjunctions in the sign of Aries. On 10th of May, we will have Mercury entering the sign of Aries. So between 10th of May till 19th of May, both Mercury and Venus will be forming a beautiful yoga in the sign of Aries. These two planets are friendly to each other. They are not in the most comfortable space and the most comfortable sign. Let me give you a very short secret about yogas. When do two planets form a positive yoga? A positive yoga is formed when the planet that is moving faster is behind the other graha, which is the slower moving graha if you compare to the pace of both the planets. So if you talk about Mercury and Venus, Mercury moves faster than Venus. So during this conjunction, Mercury is behind Venus. So the faster moving graha is behind the slower graha in terms of the pace, in terms of speed. Therefore, it is forming a positive yoga during this time. Aries is an interesting transit for Venus because one, it is moving out from its exaltation, entering the sign of Aries, and it is one step away from entering its own sign, which is the sign of Taurus. So it's not a bad transit after all. From a natural perspective, this is the second house lord and the natural seventh house lord making a transit in the first house. Venus represents beauty, the way we present ourselves, our interaction with others. It represents relationship, it represents love, harmony. It is the planet that brings peace, that brings cordial environments and cordial relationships. It is the planet that fosters abundance and cohesion at the same time when it is about working with other people and how we manage and navigate through these relationships. So therefore, this is an optimum time to focus a lot on family related matters and your relationship either with your partner or your spouse and the kind of business which you have, because one of the common aspects which all of us would need to focus during this time is how we present ourselves, how we carry ourselves. Self-care is going to be of a priority over the next few weeks, and I say that self-care is healthcare. That's the primary stepping stone. If you were to have a healthy and happy living, you have to be conscious about your own self. And over the next few weeks, I also anticipate that there could be some breakthrough developments in the healthcare sector, because Venus's transit in the sign of Aries is quite crucial as far as healthcare is concerned. During this transit, Venus is going to go through 2 nakshatras primarily, and will also spend a few days in Kritika nakshatra. Primarily on 24th of April, it will enter Ashwini nakshatra, which is the first nakshatra of the zodiac belt. This nakshatra is ruled by Ketu, and Venus will stay in Ashwini nakshatra till 5th of May. On 5th of May, it will move to Bharani nakshatra, which is Venus's own nakshatra. So from 5th of May till 16th of May, Venus is extremely powerful because it's in its own nakshatra. It's in a very good mental state during this time. And on 16th of May, Venus will enter Kritika nakshatra, which is ruled by Sun or Surya, and it will stay in Kritika nakshatra for the next few days. Now during this time, wherever the sign of Scorpio falls in your chart, the sign of Pisces falls in your chart, and the sign of Aries falls in your chart, are likely to demonstrate some sort of positive results. So watch out for results associated to these signs in your chart and the kind of planets that are placed and how are they linked in Dasha, Antardasha and Pratyeka Dasha for yourself. And most importantly, during this transit, from a nakshatra point of view, Venus is putting its focus on the first cycle, which is about self, your overall inner peace, your happiness, your body comforts, immunity, vitality, who you really are. It is an optimum time to evolve your personality, work a lot on personal development, your overall self-grooming, your executive presence, and how you build credible relationships for the purpose of your own well-being and wealth. Who's going to have a maximum impact of this transit? In case you're running through a Dasha, Antardasha, Pratyeka Dasha, where Venus is playing a role, where Mars is playing a role, because Mars is the ruler of the sign Aries, where Jupiter is playing a role, where Sun is playing a role, or where Mercury is playing a role, you are likely to be impacted by this transit. Even if Ketu is playing a role, you are likely to be impacted by this transit. During this transit, Venus will also be under the third aspect of Saturn, which is the aspect of growth. It is the Upachaya aspect. This is what it signifies. So Saturn demands channelization of Venus in the matters of all things associated to Venus and its signification that needs to grow in life. This is the kind of message which Saturn's aspect on this Venus is giving to all of us. Venus aspects 7th from its position, which is the aspect of desire, and Venus has very high desires in this world because it plays a very important role in the current times in the materialistic world, and also in terms of establishing relationship with other people, interaction that we have with other people. Venus during this transit is having an aspect on Libra, the sign of Libra, which is 7th from where Venus is placed. Therefore, Venus desires to bring a sense of harmony, a sense of joy, fulfillment, and a lot of focus on law and order situation to maintain balance into this world, to maintain a sense of harmony and peace in this world. This is the kind of message which Venus is giving to all of us as far as its aspect is concerned, and this needs to be understood very clearly from individual charts and the kind of placement that Venus has and what role is it playing in the current transit. So now let's talk about how this transit is going to have an impact on all 12 ascendant signs. Primarily, I want you to read this transit from your ascendant sign as far as the physical results are concerned. You might read it from the moon sign or your Chandra Rashi if you were to understand the results more at the mental level, but most importantly, understand from your ascendant or the rising sign. Let's start with Aries ascendants. For Aries ascendants, Venus becomes the ruler of the 2nd house and the 7th house, the ruler of family, wealth. This is the Dhan Bhava. Venus is the Dhanesha for Aries ascendants, and it is also the lord of the 7th house. 7th house represents marriage, it represents your spouse, it represents your behavior or your attitude towards your partner or spouse. You know, one of the interesting aspects about the seventh house is also called Jaya Bhava, which means it represents peace and it represents war as well. So it plays an important role in both these aspects. It is one of the Kama houses, so it represents high amount of desires. This is what Venus represents for Aries ascendants, and this Venus is making a transit in your ascendant itself. It is forming a Dhan Yoga in transit, it is forming a positive yoga in transit, and any planet that is sitting in the ascendant during its transit is an opportunity for you to improve significations at a natural level with regards to this particular planet. So what you need to focus on over the next few days is very simple. You need to focus on your own self, your self-care, personal grooming, your executive presence, the way you present yourself in front of others, the way you carry yourself. Your speech is going to have a sense of eloquence, and this is something which you need to focus on over the next few days. Venus rules consumption for you because that is represented from the second house. So it is a perfect time for you to focus in terms of what you eat and what you consume and how you consume it, and the kind of relationship you have with your family and your perception towards your family, and certain things that you would like to improve as far as your household is concerned, relationship with your spouse or your partner. This is also the need of the hour during this time. Overall, I consider this as a very good transit because Venus is aspecting your seventh house of desires, of business, partnership, marriage, those people who are opposite to you. So Venus is going to expand your interactive capabilities during this time. If you're also looking forward to starting something of your own which gets you another source of income, if you want to go on your own in case your dasha antardasha is supportive, this transit could be quite a breakthrough transit for you, particularly the first week, 10 days, when Venus is forming a very nice yoga with Sun, which is your fifth lord, and with Jupiter, which is your ninth lord, and all three are sitting in the ascendant. First few days of this transit is quite significant for you in order to make some important decisions for yourself and how you can take that forward, because there are beautiful energies that are sitting within your ascendant. So be mindful, not get into a state of confusion, because at times these complex energies can make us shift from one decision to the other. So listen to your own self and follow your own judgment, and that's something which you need to trust during this time. You can use mantras of Jupiter or you can use mantras of Surya or Sun during this time, which also demands consistency. Be consistent in anything that you do. Rise early and at the same time demonstrate a lot of energy all through the day, and it is an excellent time to pick up a course which is quite practical in nature, something that you can apply in your life for your overall well-being. Overall, it is a positive transit and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Taurus ascendants. For Taurus ascendants, Venus is an important planet because it is your Lagnesha. It rules your first house, which is yourself, your overall body, vitality, your immunity. We also see intelligence from the first house. We also see the primary knowledge that comes to an individual from the first house, because it really talks about your capability or ability to learn. All the other houses comes very much later. This is the stepping stone in terms of ensuring how fast you are as far as your learning agility is concerned and how receptive you are towards all kinds of learning in this world. Venus also represents your sixth house, which is the house of competitions, which is the house of deaths and diseases. It is the house of overall well-being. This is where we see daily routines from and things that you do on a day-to-day basis. We also see job from the sixth house. We also see intelligence from the sixth house, because that is something which helps you overcome any sort of competition. This Venus is making a transit in your 12th house of losses, expenditure, the house of sleep or bed comforts. This is also the house of spirituality, because this is the highest moksha bhava as far as the moksha trine of 4, 8 and 12 is concerned. Venus gets exalted in the natural sign of Pisces. Therefore, from a placement perspective, Venus is one of those grahas that does very well as far as the 12th house is concerned. Now, from this house, Venus is aspecting your 6th house. Venus desires you to do a lot of cleansing as far as your daily routine is concerned. Try to fix that. This is the kind of desire. Try to bring a sense of eloquence. Try to bring a sense of organization as far as your daily routine is concerned. This could be an optimum time to clean up your house, to declutter the things, or those things that you don't want, better to donate it, because the more you give during this time, the more you will get as far as your future abilities are concerned or prospects are concerned, because there's a 3 planetary conjunction in your 12th house for the first week of this transit, which gives you enough capabilities to help others, those who are in need. So help in the best of your capability and capacity that you can. This is the 1st house lord and the 6th house lord making a transit in the 12th house. So from a spirituality perspective, from a perspective of upliftment as far as spiritual pursuits are concerned, this is an excellent transit. This is an optimum time to sit down with yourself, pen down your key strengths, because we also see self-realization and higher self-consciousness from the 12th house. So you need to understand those strengths and what is that those areas that you could improve, and focus a lot on building on your strengths and how you can leverage those strengths to overcome any kind of competition. One thing that you have to be extremely mindful of during this time is your expenditure, which could rise, or this could be unstable for the next few days. So this is something which you need to be mindful of, because you will not be very consistent when it comes to dealing with matters related to money. So something that you need to really manage all the while is your finances. This is the ultimate remedy for you. Any kind of sadhana that you do, any spiritual tasks or activities that you do, such as meditation, yoga, wake up early, try and connect with the nature, go out for a walk, or anything that you do of this sort is going to bring a lot of peace at the mental level. This is a transit of well-being. I consider this as a positive transit, and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Gemini Ascendants. For Gemini Ascendants, Venus is a very important planet because it is the only Yogakaraka planet for Gemini. It rules your 5th house, which is the house of future, which is the house of progress. This is where the king sits. This house holds great authority. This is also the house where we see mantras from, becomes the mantresha. It also rules children or progeny in the chart, which is also associated to our future, because this is where we see generations from. This house also represents creativity and speculation of all kinds. So in order to be progressive in life, in order to be successful or reach an authoritative position, this is where we see it from, because this is the natural house that is ruled by the king, which is sun. Leo sign is the natural 5th house of the Kalpurusha Kundli, and here Venus is making a transit. It rules the sign of Libra, which is 5th house in your chart. It rules the 12th house in your chart, which is the sign of Taurus. We see losses from the 12th house. We see higher self-consciousness from the 12th house. We see expenditure, your sleep, your bed comforts, and how is your attitude towards helping others, towards giving others, towards sharing of information, towards becoming self-disclosing. And that is also one of the ways to become more self-aware. This Venus is making a transit in your 11th house of gains, all the material things in this world. It plays a very important role in the current time that we live in, because it's very important for material success and gains of all kinds. It also represents your wider social network, your friends, and what you will do in order to sustain in this world. We also see recognition, rewards, material rewards from the 11th house. Any planet that is making a transit in the 11th house, or that is placed in the 11th house, I consider it as good as far as its placement is concerned, as far as its transit is concerned. So without a doubt, it's a Yogakaraka planet for you, making a transit in the 11th house. It is conjoined Jupiter, which is your 10th lord, and Sun, which is your 3rd lord during this time. So there could be change, there could be growth, and there could be gains of some kind during this time, because it is a Dhana Yoga, which is linked to your work. So you could see some sort of increment or some sort of additional source of income coming through your way during this time, in case your Dasha Antardasha is supportive. During the last phase of this transit, Venus will come in contact with your Lagna Lord Mercury, and they will be forming a beautiful yoga in the 11th house. I expect mid to end of May, quite positive as far as this transit and this yoga is concerned, in terms of getting some results both from Venus as well as Mercury during this time. This is the first step before Venus enters your 12th house, which will bring a lot of spiritual pursuits and increase all of that during this time. What you can do to channelize your Venus is to read Sri Suktam or chant mantras related to Venus, or worship any form of Shakti or Durga. You can worship Lakshmi, you can worship any other form of Ma Durga during this time, you are likely to be benefited by this transit. Overall, I think and feel it is a positive transit. The mantras that you use, because your 5th house energies are at pretty much positive, are in terms of channelizing positively, because there are 3 planets which is aspecting your 5th house during this time. Venus, most importantly, wants to put its desire on future related things, progress for future, in terms of your overall ability to interact with others, in order to set your goals about the things that you wish to achieve over the next few months. So these could be some of the areas where you could focus on. Your relationship would improve as far as other people are concerned, and I consider it as a good transit, and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Cancer Ascendants. For Cancer Ascendants, Venus becomes the ruler of the 4th house and the 11th house. 4th house of Sukha or happiness. It is the Sukhesha, the planet which is very much important in terms of your overall satisfaction, your most comfortable space. This is what 4th house represents, and therefore it is connected to your home or homeland. We also see mother from the 4th house, so therefore this is a house of compassion. This is the house of care, where you feel most protected. Venus also rules the 11th house of gains, labha, material comforts of all kinds, your interaction with the outer world, your relationship with friends, and the ability to expand your network and all things that you do in this mundane life. This Venus is making a transit in your 10th house, 10th house of karma, your action to the society, your profession, the kind of work that you're doing. 10th house is the most important and the strongest Kendra house. Venus is also one of the significators of the 10th house, because it represents your level of interaction with other people. It represents your relationship at your workplace or the kind of work that you do, and how you leverage these relationships, these connections to the best of your abilities for your own success. Therefore, from a transit perspective, whenever Venus is making a transit in the 10th house, in spite of being in the fiery sign of Aries, it is a positive transit. But from a strength perspective, Venus is also losing its strength here. So it's a bit of a complex situation, because Venus gains directional strength in the 4th house. 10th house is opposite to the 4th house. So therefore, Venus is getting 0 direction during this time. On the other side, it is also the opposite to the sign of Libra. Venus is Mool Trikona in the sign of Libra, having greater strength. It is losing that strength in the sign of Aries, which is 7 houses or opposite to this sign. So there is a bit of caveat during this time, but the first few days are pretty much supportive as far as the transit is concerned, because it's conjoined Sun and Jupiter. So your 10th house is pretty much active, your 4th house is pretty much active during this time. So any breakthrough decisions as far as your work is concerned, professional life is concerned, your career is concerned, this is the time over the next few days for you to make some breakthrough decisions. In case you've been looking for a change or a new opportunity, this could be an optimum time, though you might need to put a lot more efforts. But through your relationships or your connections or your network, you can gain, and this is the kind of ability which you have during this time. This Venus will be aspecting your 4th house, so it wants to desire to put a lot of focus in your overall comfort and happiness. So if you were to pick up any kind of hobby that you have or any interest, this is an optimum time to be able to pursue those goals. From a remedy perspective, this is the time to declutter, clean your house, because there are 3 planets that are aspecting your 4th house, which demands decluttering. And this could be an optimum time between 24th of April till 1st of May, this 1 week, 10 days that you have. Make the most of decluttering. Those things you don't need, please give them away. You can also keep a white flower either at your workplace or at your home. And the other remedy for you is to clean up and organize your workspace, your desk, and where you work. You need to ensure that you are more communicative and more interactive during this time, because Mercury will also be making a conjunction with Venus in your 10th house, and these are the kind of energies which will be there in the second part of this transit between 10th and 19th of May. So this is one time you have to establish good relationships, and you have to really come out of your shell and interact with as many people as you can. Overall, I feel it is a positive transit, but from a strength perspective, you will have to put a lot more efforts and conscious efforts if you were to make this transit successful for yourself. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Let's now talk about Leo Ascendants. For Leo Ascendants, Venus becomes the ruler of the 3rd house and the ruler of the 10th house. Therefore, Venus is an important planet because it rules one Kendra house, which is the 10th house. It is the most important Kendra. Venus for Leo rules your profession. It is your karmesha. It rules your action in the society, your things that you do in order to sustain yourself, in order to survive and have a living and take care of those who are near and dear to you as well in terms of your overall family and those people who you are connected with. Venus is also your third lord. We see Guru Upadesha from third lord, the message of your mentor or teachings of your mentor, the teachings that you get, not the teachings that you give. That's something which we see from the 9th house. This is where Guru's message or your mentor's message comes into picture. We also see valor from the third house, or courage. And Venus is something which is very opposite to nature as far as the courage aspects are concerned. Therefore, Mars gets the signification as far as the third house matters are concerned. We also see younger siblings, change, efforts that you put, and also most importantly growth, because this is the Upachaya Bhava. So growth is the stepping stone, and this is something which starts from efforts, and efforts are directly connected to our growth. This Venus is making a transit in the 9th house of higher learning, fortune. It is the Bhagya Bhava. It is the highest trikon or trine. We also see father. We also see guru or teacher from the 9th house. We also see the kind of message that we give to this world from a dharmic perspective, and also the kind of teachings that we do in this world, our ability to gain spiritually. We also see long journey. So both third and the 9th axis, which is pretty much activated during this time, could bring in journeys. Now this could be travel, but this could also be a start of something, because that itself is a journey, that you start something new. You've got 3 planets in your 9th house, both are aspecting the third house. Change is inevitable over the next 10-15 days. You could very well start a journey wherein your fortune is quite supportive, wherein your decision making is quite positive during this time. You have a strongly disposed Lagna Lord, you have a strongly disposed 5th Lord, and you have a strongly disposed 10th Lord for the first week, 10 days. So I consider this as a very breakthrough kind of a transit for Leo ascendants. During this time, Venus will be aspecting your 3rd house, so it demands a kind of message from your guru. What kind of message from your mentor? Things that you could apply in your work life or in your professional world in order to grow, in order to cope up with this change. So this is the ultimate remedy for you. Take advice of someone elder, take advice of mentor, someone who's a leader, either holds an authoritative position or has plenty of wisdom. You can also take advice of your partner or spouse, or those people, particularly the opposite sex, those people who are closely associated to you. That advice will not hurt you during this time. This is the only remedy you need. Overall, I feel it's a positive transit because Venus is very positively influenced by other grahas which are taking pretty much power in the first few days, and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Virgo ascendants. For Virgo ascendants, Venus is an important planet. It is a yoga karaka. It plays a very important role in all wealth related matters because it becomes your dhanesha. It becomes the ruler of the 2nd house, the house of family, your consumption. This is where we consume. This represents what we consume, how we consume, those people who we would like to protect. The house of protection, the house of speech, what we say, how we say is seen from the 3rd house, but what we say, the content is seen from the 2nd house, and our overall tone of voice, that is also seen from the 2nd house. Venus rules the 9th house, so it rules 2 Lakshmi sthanas. It is your Bhagyesha. It plays a very important role as far as fortune is concerned, your higher education, your knowledge is concerned, the kind of message that you give to others, the teachings that you share with others, the house of your father or your guru or your mentor, and long distance travel is also seen from the 9th house. This Venus is making a transit in your 8th house of transformation, sudden ups and downs. We also see Ayus or longevity from the 8th house. This house is a very mysterious house. It makes a person very much secretive. So there is a caveat during this transit that you could potentially start hiding things with from your family, or those who you closely associate with, particularly your seniors or bosses. So if it is in the best interest of yourself, it is fine, but at the same time you have to be cautious as far as this timing is concerned. Now Venus does well in the 8th house compared to other grahas. It is a natural benefic planet, it is a yoga karaka planet for you, so wherever its placement is, it will not harm that particular house. Secondly, Venus is the only graha that achieved Mrit Sanjeevani, the knowledge of Mrit Sanjeevani from Lord Shiva. So from that perspective, it is again a positive transit. It will give you very good capabilities as far as research is concerned, as far as learning some of the hidden knowledge is concerned. So if you wish to learn Jyotish during this time, this could be a potentially favorable transit. Your 9th house lord making a transit in the 8th house is loss of fortune, loss of bhagya. So more than fortune, you will have to be very much dependent on your own self and the kind of actions and decisions that you take, because the 2 and 8 axis are pretty much active during this time. So you need to think before you speak and what you speak, the kind of content that you use during this time. In case you're expecting any kind of inheritance from your family, this could be a potentially favorable time in case your dasha antardasha is supportive. Transformation is inevitable. It could be painful, it could bring initial struggle or a kind of pain as far as the change is concerned, but it is for the greater good. It will eventually make you more mentally strong. So you might need to cope up with a kind of consistent stress or anxiety, a bit of that during this time. So make sure that you do a lot of meditation, you do a lot of sadhana, you do a lot of things that make you gain this mental strength. Go out there, connect with the nature, elevate your level of interaction with others. And Venus is aspecting your 2nd house by its 7th aspect, so its desire is for you to start a secondary source of income, maybe something related to commission or something related to a new kind of work, or if you're expecting any kind of increment, incentive, that could happen in a sudden manner, and it would depend on your ongoing dasha antardasha and what you have been doing. This is also an opportunity for you to build that kind of bond with your family members and that closeness. Also, another remedy for you would be to watch what you eat and be very careful of what you consume during this time. Have a balanced diet, balanced routine, and take care of your speech. Overall, I say it's a mixed transit and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Libra ascendants. For Libra ascendants, Venus is the Lagnesha or the lord of your ascendant because it rules the sign of Libra. It also rules your 8th house, the sign of Taurus, which is the house of transformation, sudden ups and downs in life. So from a lordship perspective, it is important because it rules yourself, who you are, your knowledge, your capabilities, and it rules your dhi. This is where we see the brain sits in the 1st house. So it plays a very important role in our learning and day-to-day life, our vitality and our inner as well as physical strength. Venus also rules transformation, your longevity. It is the Ayush Bhava ruler for yourself. It also represents change of any kinds that could be sudden in nature. It is also a mysterious house. It rules secret. This is also Mangalya Bhava because it's 2nd from the 7th house. So it represents happiness or consumption of your marriage and things that you do in order to protect your relationship with your spouse and your attitude towards it. So therefore Venus is an important planet. This Venus is making a transit in your 7th house. Venus is the significator of the 7th house because this is the house it represents as far as relationships are concerned, harmony, partnership, and our interaction with those people who are opposite to ourselves. This is what 7th house represents. 7th house, I mentioned in the initial part of my video, a very differentiated aspect which no one talks about. It is also called Jaya Bhava as per Brihadarasha Hora Shastra. So 7th Bhava being a Jaya Bhava represents peace and also war because it's opposite to your 7th house. The natural zodiac, it represents law and order as well. So from a placement perspective, the Karaka or significator making a transit in the 7th house is quite positive. So Venus will bring in opportunities for you to build credible relationships with those people who are opposite to you. It would foster your level of interaction. It will bring you out of your shell. There are 3 planets that are aspecting your ascendant for the first week, 10 days during this transit, which is Sun, Venus and Jupiter. All 3 are placed here. Sun is in great strength in its exaltation. Venus is good because in the house where it is the significator, so from that perspective it is an optimum time to bring a lot of improvement in your own self. So it is a reflection time. This is also a time for being able to refresh yourself and recharge yourself. So this is a very high energy transit as far as Libra ascendants are concerned, a transit of change which is very much positive in nature. Now Venus, when it is aspecting your ascendant, it desires you to improve your personality, to improve your ability to interact with other people, those who are opposite to you. And that's the kind of message which Venus is giving. You need to also focus on transforming your relationships and mending ties with your partner. If you were to start a new business opportunity, this could be a potentially favorable time. If you were to take some key decisions in your business, in case your dasha antardasha is supportive, this could be a potentially favorable time because your decision making would be pretty strong during this time. You will be full of conviction, confidence, and you will focus a lot on your self-esteem, and this is quite wonderful as far as this transit is concerned. From a remedial perspective, take advice of your spouse, your partner, or someone who's close to you. This person could be in a relationship with you or someone who you closely associate with, or it could be a business partner as well. Overall, I consider this as a positive transit, as a very reflective and a refreshing transit for you, and I wish you the very best. Now let's talk about Scorpio ascendants. For Scorpio ascendants, Venus becomes the ruler of the 7th house and the ruler of the 12th house. So when it comes to matters related to relationship, marriage, partnership, or those people who are opposite to you, Venus plays a very important role because it's the 7th house ruler. 7th house is also called Jaya Bhava. It represents peace, harmony, and it also represents war because it's opposite to the 1st house. This is how we read the 7th house. We also see business and any kind of partnership from this house. Venus rules the 12th house, which is the house of sleep, the house of losses, expenditure. It is the Vyaya Bhava. This house also represents higher self-consciousness, things that we do which help us become more self-aware. Venus is making a transit in the 6th house of daily routines, of deaths and diseases. This is also the house where we see competition from and the kind of job that we are doing. From a placement perspective, Brihad Parashar Hora Shastra says that Venus is considered Maran Karaka in the 6th house. Therefore, it loses its significance. It is in the fiery sign of Aries, and then it is also losing its signification during this time. So this is an opportunity window for you to consciously work very hard in terms of improving significations related to Venus. This could be a time when particularly your partner, your spouse, someone opposite to you who you closely associate with, or someone you are in a relationship with, would go out of the way to help you, to support you. They might suffer during this time, but you need to listen to them. You need to take their advice. This is an opportunity window for you to improve significations related to Venus, which is knowledge related to the mundane world or things that are practical in nature. Start learning something new. Focus a lot on improving your relationship or protecting your relationship during this time. The kind of change that you can make in yourself during this time, because that is the only thing which is in your control. The other significations related to Venus are harmony. It is also abundance and the kind of wealth that you wish to make in this world. That is quite important for you. From a spiritual perspective, it is quite good because Venus is aspecting your 12th house by its 7th aspect. So it desires spiritual discipline. It desires your ability to give others, help others. The first week, 10 days, particularly when Sun, Jupiter, Venus both are in your 6th house, aspecting your 12th house, give you a kind of message. The more you help people, those who are in need, the better would be your capabilities in terms of working very hard for protecting yourself and your family and working towards your near and dear ones. So this is the kind of message and the only remedy that I have for you during this time. Overall, I say it's a mixed transit and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Sagittarius ascendants. For Sagittarius ascendants, Venus becomes a potent malefic. For Jupiter ruled ascendants, Venus is malefic. For Venus ruled ascendants, Jupiter is a malefic. Venus for Sagittarius rules the 6th house and the 11th house. 6th house is the house of enemies. 11th house is also the house of enemies because it is 6th from the 6th house. 6th house represents daily routines, deaths and diseases, things that we do on our day-to-day basis, competition, the kind of loans or debts we take, and the kind of ability to repay those loans as well is also seen from the 6th house. This is the house of competition. We also see job from the 6th house. 6th house plays a very important role in growth related matters, and so does the 11th house because it is also an upachaya bhava. We see gains from the 11th house. We also see bigger and more difficult competitions and more difficult enemies from the 11th house, those who could bring in a lot of opposition as far as our life is concerned. This Venus is making a transit in the 5th house. From a transit perspective, Venus being a natural benefic and having those abilities, it is quite positive as far as the 5th house transit is concerned, because your 11th lord is coming in the 5th house, forming a nice dhan yoga related to your future. So if you're looking forward to having an incentive or a new opportunity or a rise in income or your material gain or success, this is quite a positive transit. For the particularly for the first 10 days or so, where Jupiter, Sun and Venus, all three are making a yoga in your 5th house and they're aspecting in your 11th house, so they could create opportunities for wealth, opportunities for higher and more stable income. You might be working part-time, so this could be an opportunity for yourself to get a full-time role or get into something which is more stable, more sustainable in nature, because we see future from the 5th house. So this is the ultimate time. The first 10 days is quite significant if you were to plan for your future, if you were to foresee your future. So have a vision for your future, start visualizing, and then start putting the plans together in order to what you wish to achieve in the next few months. Venus is aspecting your 11th house. It desires gains and material comforts of all kinds. It also desires you to influence others, influence the masses by your eloquence, by your personality, by the ability of interaction with others. So enhance your influential skills, enhance your negotiation skills with others. This will bring in a lot of confidence. Any mantras that you use during this time, you could be highly benefited by those mantras. Those mantras primarily could be about Jupiter or Sun, could be related to one of these grahas during this time, which will be highly beneficial for you as far as some of the energies are concerned. Now, one of the things that you have to be mindful of is stay away from extravagance, stay away from any kind of indulgence. That is also one of the life remedy that you have to apply over the next few days. Overall, I think it's a very positive transit and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Capricorn Ascendants. For Capricorn Ascendants, Venus becomes an important planet and a Yogakaraka planet because it rules your 5th house and the 10th house. One Trikona and one Kendra, triangle and an important quadrant house. Therefore, it is a Yogakaraka. Venus rules 5th house, which is the house of future, children, progress, the overall success that you will have in this life, your ability to reach a higher or an authoritative position. We also see creativity from the 5th house. We also see love and affection from the 5th house because this is the house of children, and unconditional love is said to be given to your children, and this is where we see unconditional love from. This also rules 10th house of karma, your professions or your actions in the society and things that you do in order to survive in this world, in order to sustain in this world and grow yourself and your family, your overall work and your attitude towards your work as well. Now, this Venus is making a transit in your 4th house of Sukha, happiness, your comfort space, where you feel most protected. This is the house of compassion. That is why we see Mother from the 4th house. Venus as a planet gains directional strength or is Digbali in the 4th house. Therefore, there are blessings of Devatas during this time. As far as the significations of Venus are concerned, it is pretty strong, it is well disposed and it is in great strength during this time as far as your Yogakaraka planet is concerned. So, your future is in terms of looking at your overall comfort. This is a time for well-being and trying to prioritize your well-being in your life from a karmic point of view, from an action-oriented point of view. In case your dasha, antardasha is supportive, this time could bring you very good relationship or improve your relationship with your mother or people from your homeland or your home country. You could be in a position to take some breakthrough decisions as far as real estate matters are concerned, as far as property matters are concerned, or any such investments that are linked to your overall portfolio. So watch out for the space, and also at the same time understand the kind of dasha antardasha that you're going through during this time. Venus by its 7th aspect will be aspecting your 10th house, so it desires you to expand your workplace pursuits and some of the decisions that you take as far as your workplace is concerned. There are 3 planetary conjunctions the first few days in your 4th house, and all 3 are aspecting your 10th house. So they want to transform your work. They want you to take some breakthrough decisions as far as your career is concerned, and what direction you were to take your career to the next level and how you're going to do it. The last week or so of this transit, you will have Mercury and Venus both forming a beautiful yoga in the 4th house and aspecting your 10th house. Both are yoga karaka planets for you. So this could be an ultimate time, and the month for you is quite progressive as far as workplace pursuits and matters are concerned. You will have to step out of your comfort zone. You will have to do something which you're not comfortable with. There could be a change of that sort, but be open towards learning, be receptive to learning. Listen to your mother or listen to those people who are connected with you, those who you feel secure with. Take their advice and guidance. And from a well-being point of view, one of the remedy that you could do is to clean your house to improve your well-being, to improve your health. Practice cleanliness, try to declutter and give away those things that you don't need during this time. Another remedy for you could be keep a white flower plant indoors or even outdoors in your balcony or your terrace during this time. That could be highly beneficial for you during this time. Overall, it's a good, positive, promising transit, and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Aquarius Ascendants. For Aquarius Ascendants, Venus is a Yoga Karaka planet because it rules your 1 Kendra house, which is the 4th house quadrant, and 1 Trinal house, which is the 9th house. Therefore, it's a Yoga Karaka, very important planet. Now, Venus from a karmic point of view rules both mother and the father for Aquarius Ascendants. Therefore, they naturally have some karmic repercussions as far as their parents are concerned. This is the kind of message that I also want to give to Aquarius Ascendants. Now, this Venus rules your 4th house of mother, your comfort, the house of satisfaction where you feel most protected, your homeland or your home where you feel most comfortable. And it also rules your 9th house of long distance journey, your father, dharma, fortune. We also see higher education. We also see your ability to give and transfer this knowledge to others. This is also seen from the 9th house. So it plays a very important role. This Venus is making a transit in the 3rd house of communication, valor. We see courage from the 3rd house, the kind of efforts that you put, your younger siblings, your communication. We also see right hand from the 3rd house. So things that you do from your hand and how you use it. This is also seen from this house. It is an Upachaya Bhava, so it plays a very important role as far as growth is concerned. Venus, being a Yoga Karaka planet for you, has come into this house here, so your efforts towards your growth should be more related to your higher knowledge and higher education, and those things which make you feel happy, that make you feel content. 3rd house from a placement perspective is not one of the best placements for Venus, because from a valor perspective, it has nothing to do with courage or valor, because that is Mars's role. Venus is a very compassionate planet. Venus is the planet of love. It is the planet of abundance, and 3rd house is also the house of lust. So this placement, one needs to be very careful as far as their desires are concerned. So one needs to channelize their desires, because currently the 3 planetary conjunctions in the 3rd house, all 3 are also aspecting your 9th house. In order to increase your dharma, fortune and higher education, it is quite promising. But you have to channelize your desire and be very careful as far as your decision making is concerned, because change is inevitable. You will have to put 3 or 4 more times the effort than you would put usually in order to cope up with this change. Venus is aspecting your 9th house by its 7th aspect. So this Venus desires you to focus and protect your dharma, that dharma which you are very comfortable with, and try not deviate from that path. Try to spread awareness, knowledge. As a remedy, you can teach others. You can train others, coach others, mentor others, give them a kind of advice. Any journeys that you could take during this time would bring a sense of joy, whether they are short journeys or even long distance journey during this transit. Between 10th of May till 19th of May, both Mercury and Venus will form a yoga in the 3rd house. So this is the time when I expect some sort of positivity as far as change is concerned. Another remedy would be to use your hands to do something. Journal, write during this time, which could be quite effective and good for you. Whatever you learn, pen down your thoughts, do it in writing, work in your kitchen, use your hands, work out in the gym, exercise, anything that you do that involves your hands, and keep your hands neat, tidy, clean and hygienic during this time. That is also one of the remedy for you. Another simple remedy during this time could be anything that you do before starting anything new, or if, let's say, if you're going for an interview or an important meeting, have a spoon of yogurt during this time, which will be highly beneficial for you as far as remedy is concerned. Overall, I think it's a mixed transit and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Pisces Ascendants. For Pisces Ascendants, Venus is a potent malefic because it rules your 3rd house and the 8th house, two of the difficult houses. 3rd house is about valor, courage, your determination. We also see younger siblings from the 3rd house. We also see efforts from the 3rd house. Now this house also represents communication and growth, change of any kinds. Venus also rules 8th house, which also is linked to change that could be sudden in nature. It is about longevity, it is about transformation, it is about sudden ups and downs in life or a sense of uncertainty. It is a very mysterious power. We see secrets from the 8th house, we see hidden knowledge, research related subjects from the 8th house, places that are far off, distant, across the seas from the 8th house. This Venus is making a transit to the 2nd house of consumption, 2nd house of dhan or wealth. It plays a very important role in accumulated wealth, your family, your speech, dhan, and most importantly, those people who you would like to protect, and that starts with your family itself. So from a placement perspective, Venus naturally rules the 2nd house of Taurus and it is making a transit in the 2nd house. So from a placement perspective, it is not bad, but Venus brings a very high sense of desire for everything in life, desire for many relationships, and that is something which one has to be very careful of when Venus transits in the 2nd house, or if Venus is placed in the 2nd house, that is also a time when one has to be very careful of the kind of relationships that they have, because it could bring in a lot of illicit relationships at this time. So one has to be cautious. Your focus should be a lot in terms of improving relationships with your family for your overall well-being. Now from a wealth point of view, this time could see you put in a lot more efforts. Change is inevitable and this time needs better financial management. Your 2nd house has heavy energies. There is Sun, there is Jupiter, there is Venus. Your Lagna Lord is making a final leg transit in the 2nd house and then it will enter your 3rd house later. So this transit is last opportunity for you to have better financial management, to save some money for your own future. Also, you could start a secondary source of income, or if you are looking to having any kind of increase as far as your income is concerned, if your dasha antardasha is supportive by the virtue of Sun's conjunction with Venus in this house, you could be benefited during this time. That is conditioned to your dasha. Venus from the 2nd house is aspecting your 8th house of transformation, hidden knowledge. We also see Jyotish or other deep secrets from the 8th house. So Venus desires you to learn deep secrets of occult or Jyotish or any related subjects, or those subjects that involve a lot of research in place. Venus desires you to transform for your own self so that you can cope up with this change. You can be comfortable with this change. Embrace the change. Don't resist, but embrace it. This is for your own good. Overall, it could be a bit of a difficult transit, not than the most comfortable transit, I would say, at this time. But gradually, things will improve for you. The first week, 10 days are quite crucial for you to make some important decisions as far as your financial management is concerned, as far as your decisions with family is concerned, and just be careful of what you say. Think before speaking. This is also a piece of advice I can give you during this time and the ultimate remedy for you. Overall, a mixed transit, and I wish you the very best. So this was about Venus's transit in the sign of Aries, which is a fiery sign, and how it is going to have an impact on all 12 ascendants. I hope you liked this video. In case you're new, please subscribe, share this video with your friends. I hope and believe that Venus's transit in the sign of Aries brings a sense of eloquence in our personality, help us improve, put a lot of focus on self-care, because self-care is healthcare towards the end of the day. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.